What's this? You know, I don't understand this. I mean, I have so many demo discs, and yet, no matter how hard I try, I can never seem to get enough of these things. I'm just always in awe when I get one of these and I think, damn, that was me 16 years ago. Oh, sorry. So sorry, I didn't see you there. Graham was telling me to recite my lines about this amazing demo disc, which I shall now explain to you right now. As you can see, folks, we have yet another demo disc, and, well, it's safe to say I have demo-itis, because no matter how hard I try, I never seem to tear myself away from how many demo discs that I have in my possession. I just love to cover them. But this particular disc is special because, as you can see on the front cover here, the case claims that this is the perfect demo. And the reason behind this is because the OPSM UK Magazine that made this demo disc said that it put in all of the games that it rated 10 out of 10 in its magazines and shoved 12 of them in this disc. So, the question today is this: is this really the perfect demo disc? And if it isn't, why? Well, folks, you came to the right channel, so sit back and enjoy as I look at all 12 games and see if this really is the perfect demo disc. First up, it's Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo is one of my favourite racing games of all time, and to see it included here is a treat. This demo version lets you select from 3 different cars, 3 difficulty options, and 1 short track, the Clubman Stage Route 5. The game looks pretty good for a demo game, and all the cars handle very differently. The Corvette handles terribly, but goes fast and sounds decent. The Subaru handles the best, but has a low top speed, although it does sound pretty good. Lastly, the Honda NSX has a VTEC engine and it sounds great. It's twitchy though, so it needs a bit of skill to master. The track in question is, it's only okay. Not my favourite, as it's just not that interesting to me. I wish they picked Trial Mountain, that would have been neat. Mind you, each race will only last around 75 seconds, and then the race abruptly ends. If there's one thing Gran Turismo gets right though, it's the replay. The replay camera is amazing. It's just a shame that because you can only enjoy 75 or so seconds of the game, you don't get much to see, so, you know. And also, I have to say that without the race music, the game just feels a bit dead and quiet, although the car sounds do sound very 90s, let's put it that way. It's still satisfying to hear them though. Overall, this is a decent demo that gives you a taster of what's to come, and as we know, Gran Turismo would become the best-selling PlayStation game of all time. Here is Pro Evolution 2. It's a football game, or soccer as the Americans call it, and unlike FIFA, this is a more realistic approach to football. You get to choose from several international teams and then the game begins. The game only lets you play one half, but it does last a good while, and even though I was terrible, as you can see, I did have some fun.
Good skill. Desperate block.
Well, once I got used to the controls anyway. However, the commentary in this game sucks my
That will be a goal kick. That one just didn't want to go in. Acting like he owns the ball. Throw in.
It's mainly just one guy sounding bored and monotone. It's almost as if he didn't want to be there. Dude, just be quiet if you can't be bothered.
He shoots. That will be a goal kick. It goes way over the bar. There it is.
Honestly, I'm very shocked it's this bad. I thought it was way better when I was younger. Overall though, this is a decent game of football and one of the best on PlayStation. Too bad most people will skip it for other games.
Great pass. He sends it into the middle. Overhead. He's found an opening. The shot. That will be a goal kick.
Now then, the next set of games will be a series lumped into one. And the games in question are Tomb Raider 1, Tomb Raider 2 and Tomb Raider 3. Yes, all 3 games on a single demo disc. Sounds promising, so let's have a quick look at all 3 games. Tomb Raider is first, and can you believe this game is 23 years old now? I'm only 3 years older at 26. Amazing! In this demo you get to control Lara Croft, and not Laura, Lara Croft. The game is an action adventure game where solving puzzles and getting to your next destination is the aim of the game. Oh, and you have to shoot pissed off animals sometimes, but combat is not the main focus here. The game allows you to play for around 10 to 15 minutes before it resets. But in that time, the game definitely leaves a good impression. However, you have to bear the controls because they take a lot of time to get used to. They are best described as tank controls and are quite stiff. There's a delay when you try to jump and Lara will struggle to stop. Therefore, you will fall off many ledges, especially if you are not used to the controls. It's clear the main focus is on platforming and solving puzzles, but despite the tank controls, I think, considering the game's age, this was still a decent romp, and bravo to Core for making a great 3D action adventure game. Tomb Raider 2 is more of the same. However, the game is more detailed, slightly faster and has better animations on Lara. I also feel getting items is much easier too. In the first game it was a chore to pick up items, but here it's much less hassle. I did find this game harder as I kept falling off this blooming edge. But I'll put this down to my lack of patience and attempts at trying to rush through the game. I find Tomb Raider 2 to be more fun in the environmental aspect too, as there's way more colours and more interesting locations to explore. The demo is much longer too. I sadly died before I could make it to the end, but I really do look forward to owning the full version of Tomb Raider 2 someday. Tomb Raider 3 is, once again, more of the same. However, the main difference is Lara is trapped in a prison complex and must escape the clutches of guards, the turrets of death, and lasers that will cut up Lara like a turkey. It's a bit weird having the game take place in a building and not outside in the wildlife. It doesn't have any personality or excitement in comparison to those other 2 games. I mean, I love shooting guards as much as anyone else, but in Tomb Raider, it doesn't feel right. The The graphics are the best out of the 3 demos. The animations are much better and I do like the slightly better controls, but it does feel almost identical as Tomb Raider 2. This demo also has a lot of slowdown at times, and the camera was not great at all. Half the time I couldn't see what was going on. In the end though, all 3 games are worth playing, and although 3 sounds a little disappointing, it's still worth playing. I'm a huge fan of the old Tomb Raider games, and this demo has the best of the 3. Well done to OPSM for including these titles. Alright, next up, 2 games that have given me a lifetime of memories, Driver 1 and Driver 2. The 2 games are very good in my opinion, despite their age. The question is though, are the demo versions included on this disc worthwhile? Driver is up first. Driver is an homage to the car chase craze of the 1960s and 1970s, taking cues from Bullet, The French Connection, and TV shows such as The Dukes of Hazzard and Starsky and Hutch. Driver delivers on that, even down to the 1970s tyre screech effect I love so much. Brilliant. The demo doesn't allow you to do much. You can watch 2 replays,
Suspect is heading south.
hear a guy say, "You dig," I think,
You dig. You dig.
and you can have a go at attempting to lose the police within 1 minute. Yes, not a lot here, but the game is fun and I do like the music. Just a shame you never get more time or more modes to explore. This makes the demo feel hollow and unfulfilling, as there's just not enough here to show how great Driver really is. A missed opportunity, if you ask me. Driver 2 is more of the same, although this time we do start with a trailer for the game. And once we play the demo game, it's us chasing another car in Havana. We must stop the sods who said my mother was fat or something. Or perhaps they stole my jam donuts. Whatever, they must die. As you can see, Driver 2 definitely looks better than the first game, and the roads actually have curves, making them feel more realistic. The buildings look bigger and more detailed as well, although on the downside the draw distance is still poor and shows a lot of pop-up. The controls are the same, but that's good in my eyes, and they kept the tyre screech from the first game. Thank goodness, I love that sound effect so very much. You can also hear the sound, especially the crash sounds are far better too. And there's also more variety of sounds as well, but the slowdown at times is very annoying. Look at this, the game barely moves at times. Bad mark on Driver 2 there. The game is also aggressive when it comes to chase distance. Make one mistake and you may as well start over, as you can never catch up. Mind you, the game is longer, and although there's no time limit per se, the game will randomly end after a while. Thank God you can restart straight away and not have to go all the way back to the main menu just to play the game again, like in Driver 1. I do think both demos are okay, and they do give you a rough idea of what you can expect in the full version of both games. Driver 2 is the better demo overall and gets my recommendation, although Driver 1 is still a great game that deserves your money easily. I will say though, both demos are insufficient and could have been much better. Next up, a game that needs no introduction. It's Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid is a brilliant game. It's a good thing the demo here actually takes full advantage of this fact. The game is a stealth action adventure game where charging in guns blazing is the worst thing you can do. You have to plan where to go and watch out for the guards that try to stop you. Oh, and the cameras and even lights try to kill you? Oh boy. The story is about trying to stop Foxhound, a terrorist group from launching nuclear weapons on the world. The first task is to find the DARPA chief, Donald Anderson, and rescue him.
Look at the radar. It's picking up the DARPA chief. He's the green dot. Hurry and rescue him.
Many story points occur throughout the demo, and trust me, you will need to listen to these codec recordings and cutscenes.
They shouldn't have access to a missile.
What I'm about to tell you is classified information. Okay? We were conducting exercises with a new type of experimental weapon. A weapon that will change the world.
What?
A weapon with the ability to launch a nuclear attack from any place on the face of the Earth.
Saying that, the game looks and sounds fantastic. Although the character faces are blurry and not very detailed for some reason, the animations, the backgrounds look superb. This is one of the best looking PlayStation games ever. The fact that everything is rendered in 3D too really is an accomplishment. The soundtrack is absolutely legendary. It sounds like an action movie, but it lends itself handily to the tense situation involved, and we cannot forget about the iconic alarm sound. This soundtrack really adds so much depth to the game, definitely earns the iconic status for me. It's a good thing the gameplay is up to snuff as well. Sneaking around undetected is a lot of fun. Trying to outwit these guards is satisfying, and later on you get weapons such as the SOCOM pistol, flashbangs, and more. You can also have items such as rations for health and even cigarettes. One of your team members actually comments on this.
By the way, sorry to disappoint you, but I did manage to smuggle out my smokes.
How did you do that?
In my stomach. Thanks to the shot you gave me that suppressed my stomach acids.
Cigarettes? How are those going to help you?
You never know.
Lastly, the codec chats are just incredible. It's simply two pictures of whoever is chatting at the time with text along with voice acting, and yet, just this alone works so well. The voice acting, the dialogue, and the way the game tells you about what is really happening really sucks you in.
In a harsh environment. I've lived in Alaska longer than you, so call me if you have any questions about the flora or fauna out here. My frequency is 141.80.
I love hearing these people talk. I feel smarter just hearing about how the weapons work, how the government aims to end the terrorist threat. Even just hearing Snake flirt makes me feel empowered.
Nice to meet you, Snake. It's an honor to speak to a living legend like yourself. What's wrong?
Nothing. I just didn't expect a world-class designer of military technology to be so cute.
You're just flattering me.
No, I'm serious. Well, I know I won't be bored for the next 18 hours.
Come on. I can't believe I'm being hit on by the famous Solid Snake. But I'm surprised. You're very frank for a trained killer.
Looks like we both have a lot to learn about each other.
It's a good thing I like these because they can take ages to listen to before you can play the game. Over 15 minutes at times. Overall, what a game. No wonder people still love this over 20 years later. One of the finest games I've ever played. The full version is a must if you love retro gaming.
The members of Foxhound. He has psychic powers.
This is bad.
It's just a matter of time before they get Baker's too.
If they find out Baker's password...
Yes, they'll be able to launch a nuke anytime. But there is a way to stop the launch.
What?
The card keys.
Card keys?
They were designed by Armstead.
Well folks, that was amazing. Metal Gear Solid definitely defied me as a child, and I still need to get the full version. Thankfully though, our next game is also a top game that I do actually own. It's Spyro, Year of the Dragon. The early Spyro games have a lot of fans, and thankfully the remake of the first 3 games turned out amazing. But in this demo of the third game, we have 3 stages to pick from. The skateboard stage with Hunter, the Tiki Lodge, and the Seashell Shore. If you want to play all 3, you have to exit the demo each time. A bit inconvenient, but at least this means a lot of replay value for a demo, and this is pretty cool actually. I personally played the Tiki Lodge and skateboard levels, but rest assured, all levels in this demo are fun to play. The Spyro series are all 3D platforming games. In the third game, you are on the hunt for dragon eggs that were stolen by a lady called Bianca. You have to beat many different enemies, overcome obstacles, and do challenges to get the eggs that are held up by thieves and other characters. Okay, why is Hunter making me skateboard to get an egg? Hunter, just give it to me, man. I'm on your side, remember? Logic aside, this game is fun. The controls are spot on. They're tight and easy to use. Charging into enemies and barrels are always a blast to do. I love the breaking sound they make on impact. Now, you may have noticed a dragonfly is always next to you. That's Sparks. Not only will he collect loose gems for you, but he also acts as Spyro's health. If he is not there, that means you can take one more hit before you are history. You can replenish health by ending the lives of animals, such as slugs. That's nice. You can also play as other characters too, such as Sergeant Bird here. He can fly indefinitely and has rockets on his shoulders. That'll teach these vultures a lesson or two. Dang, this bird is packing heat! Watch out world, because now I'm unstoppable! The only major complaint I have with this demo is there's no music at all during gameplay. This stinks, because Stuart Copeland's music really adds character and personality to the game. Without it, the game just sounds and feels more empty. There's also no voiceovers either, which again makes the game feel lifeless and a little bit boring at times. That being said, this is a great game, a decent demo and a good sign of what's to come in the final version of the game. Year of the Dragon is my favourite game in the Spyro trilogy on PS1, and I'm glad it is included here on this demo disc. This next game will be a bit of a short one because I've already covered it before in a previous demo disc episode, but it still has to be included because, well, It's the best fighting game on PlayStation. That's right, it's Tekken 3.
Tekken 3 is a fantastic fighting game. However, I've already covered this game before, so I'll only talk about it briefly here. Tekken 3 lets you choose from two fighters, Eddie Gordo, although when I was younger I used to call him Eddie Cordo, and I still do sometimes, and Ning Xiao Yu. Both fighters handle differently, have different movesets, and have many combos and moves to pull off. I personally prefer Eddie, but both fighters are great to use. You will either face Lei Wulong, or Phoenix, or Eddie Cordo. The animations are super smooth, easily some of the best on the PlayStation. The action is fast, the controls are wonderful. Well, I say that if you own any NTSC version of the game. This PAL version feels loose and somewhat unoptimized. It just does not feel as great as it could have been. Do not let this distract you from an otherwise wonderful game. You will get used to it, and I feel it's a minor inconvenience. Nothing serious. Ultimately, this possibly is the best fighting game on PlayStation, and you need this, you really do. Well, what are you waiting for? Get it!
Our next game concerns a game that I actually covered on my Bite Size episode recently. It's a game that I still think needs a lot more attention, and yes, you should buy it. Yes, you! Anyway, it's TOCA World Touring Cars.
TOCA World Touring Cars is a simulation racing game, and in this demo you get to use an Alfa Romeo 159. Neat! You get to race around Hockenheimring, and it is fun. I do love this game because you feel like a touring car driver. The graphics are really nice, especially on the tracks, but the star of the show is the car damage. Cars can deform in many ways, and it is the best car damage engine you'll ever see on the PlayStation period. The handling is pretty nice too. It inspires confidence to push the vehicle to the limit. You get to do 2 full laps, and if you want to, you can try again. There's not much here, but the game is definitely worth a look. I just wish there was some music in the game. That would have been very nice, but what's here is still nice.
Well folks, here we go, the final demo on this disc, and it's a PS1 port of a popular PC title. It's Quake 2.
Okay, here is Quake 2. Yes, the game that was made by id Software. Well, not this port, but the PC original was. And yes, these are the same people who made Doom, so it has to be good. The game starts and I try out the controls. Just like the Sega Saturn game, the Quake guy still makes those awesome jump noises. Helps with the personality aspect of the game. He still can't jump very high though. It's more like a hop if anything else. I will say the graphics look really good though. The creature designs are a little bit uninspired, but everything else looks top notch for the PS1 port. The frame rate is pretty solid, although it will drop if a lot is going on screen. The music is fantastic. It's heavy metal done right. I love it. It's easily the best part of the game. Sadly, the controls are a different story. Walking and shooting straight is fine, but as soon as you need to look up and down, it's a total nightmare. You have to use the shoulder button to look up or down. This sounds fine, but the movement is too sensitive, leading me to miss my target a lot of the time, and I end up getting shot because I need to keep readjusting my aim. This is painful and takes a lot of time to get used to. a lot of the time you end up standing still or trying to shoot when, guess what? You take more hits. This is poor and it makes the game slower paced than it should be. Had this been addressed and fixed, the game would be pure action fun. Instead, it's frustrating and cheap. This is a decent game, but a lot of work needs to be done on the controls before it can be truly a great game.
Well folks, there you go. All 12 games covered in detail. And I have to say that was a bit of a task. I mean, this demo gives you a lot of content and there's a lot to play here. So top marks in terms of longevity for the demo. Now, we have to answer the question, is this the perfect demo disc? Well, no, of course not. I mean, first off, Quake 2, I mean, it's a decent game, but the controls really bring it down, and I feel that game should have been replaced with a different demo that showed off why the game in question would be amazing. Secondly, the driver games, although fun, Driver 1 was really insufficient. There was just not enough content there to justify its inclusion, and although Driver 2 is much better, I still feel the content there is insufficient. I mean, compared to the Tomb Raider games, you could play those for 10, 15, 20 minutes straight with no problem. But the driver games only last about a couple of minutes at most. So yeah, in terms of some of the games on here, the content of some of the games are at best questionable and maybe shouldn't have been included, even though the games in question may have been very good. But now it's time to pass on the questions to you. What do you think of Eurodemo 95? Did you like what you saw? Do you recommend it? What kind of games do you think would you have instead of Quake 2 and Drivers 1 and 2? And if you could make the perfect demo disc, what kind of games would you include on it? Let me know, and until next time, I will see you in my next video.